Only Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne have more assists than Trent Alexander-Arnold since the 2018-2019 season. So, how did Liverpool replace a defender this creative? We've taken a look at 5 ways in how Liverpool could replace Trent, and one of them isn't even actually a right back. To understand what the possible solutions to replacing Trent are, we've got to understand how Arne Slot has used him this season. Now, Slot, he often sets up with a narrow back four on the ball, and then you've got Trent, who's got that freedom to gravitate into the different areas during possession, being it deep in the first phase, but moving into more advanced areas when it's needed. And that has become a really key tactical aspect of Liverpool's approach this season. But in particular, under Slot, there have been 2 aspects to Trent in attack. Sometimes he can be found in wide areas threatening to deliver a ball into the box while simultaneously pinning the opposition's winger back. Or he can be found drifting into the half spaces like this, with Salah instead holding the width, and Trent is then able to affect the game depending on where the possession takes him. Now, plenty of Liverpool's key progression routes have come down the right-hand side, and you can see here just how crucial the right-hand side is for Liverpool when they progress the ball. Now, in previous years, of course, you'll remember Robertson bombing down that left-hand side, or those diagonal passes to Sadio Mane. But this season, it's been very clear, and we saw it in pre-season in that game against Manchester United, that not only do they progress the ball down the right initially, but they also deliver it into the box from that right-hand side as well. And in those last few years of Klopp, it was a theme too. These stats collected since 2018 show just how creatively dominant Trent has been over the last 8 years. Take a look at this graphic. It shows the amount of switches made by Premier League players since 2017. Now, see that red dot? Yeah, that's Trent. He's made over 400 switches of play since 2017. And to put this into context, the next highest in this time frame is Lewis Dunk, with 236. That's nearly half. And that element of the game in terms of stretching the opposition therefore makes him even harder to replace. The question then becomes, is it pointless trying to replace him like for like? The key thing to remember, aside from one of the options, is that they will be different to Trent. It's gonna be different without Trent. Do you know, it actually just hit me that we're actually losing from the Premier League. Ugh. It's a shame, isn't it, man? Like, the passes. Hello, darkness, my old friend. So some of these are rumours that are circulating right now for players, and one that we're going to kick off is one that is being mooted, and it's Frimpong. Now, if Liverpool want to go all-out attack, the clear option is Jeremie Frimpong. His inclusion would likely, it would definitely change Slot's approach, with Frimpong being more of a natural winger than playing as a fullback, because the 24-year-old is an extremely attacking wingback for club and country, and has even played as an out-and-out winger for the Netherlands. For those who don't know, at Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso plays a 3-4-2-1, meaning that Frimpong plays as that right wingback, and he's often tasked with attacking in the last line, providing the width, and essentially acting as a winger. And because of this, he often gets himself into 1v1 situations like this one, where he becomes one of the most advanced players in the whole team. And when he does so, he's extremely direct in this situation. And that's important to say, because Trent would usually look to get the ball into the box or give it to Salah in the half spaces. But Frimpong, he takes a different approach, in which he attempts to beat his man with a dribble to make his way towards that byline, which of course is dangerous because it gets the opposition's defenders facing their own goal. And in this example, breaking in transition, Frimpong is often attempting to penetrate the last line, using his pace to make runs in behind, stretch the opposition's defence, and be an attacking threat. Frimpong looks to deliver plenty of crosses, something Trent does tend to do as well, but Liverpool aren't currently built with a natural box presence, which could also affect Frimpong's efficiency, although Liverpool do love a late runner, so there are often players in the box. Frimpong is averaging 4.5 progressive carries per 90. That's in the top 2% amongst fullbacks, because he's right up there. And he's averaging 10.99 progressive passes received, which is in the top 1% amongst fullbacks. So in my opinion, Frimpong as an option, I'm kind of surprised it's been put out there. It would show a real change. It feels like only an option that would work if it was likely that Salah was to leave as well, allowing Slot to reinvent that entire right-hand side rather than just replacing Trent. And I'm still struggling to believe that Salah would go, but Salah's potency has been fueled by Trent to a certain extent. So maybe they're ready to get rid of both. Who knows? Talk to me, Liverpool fans. How do you feel about that? Is it just like you got to keep Salah, or do you think Salah would be just as potent without Trent over a long period of time? So let's give you the like-for-like option, and not mooted currently, but we've gone for Pedro Porro because profile-wise, Porro is quite similar to Trent. And by that I mean in terms of his progressive qualities from deep positions, whilst also being able to offer output in an inverted role, but also out wide. One thing about Porro is that he will often look to receive and progress play from his nominal right fullback position. Similar to Trent, having the vision and the quality to release pinpoint passes from deep is a skill that he has. This example shows exactly that, with Porro receiving the ball on the outside of the block, and with the fullback often being the man who can afford a second or two on the ball to get their head up. Porro's got the ability to lift his head, spot the runners, and look to kickstart an attack with a direct ball in behind. And this is important to touch on because not only is this something Trent does on a regular basis, but it's also something that Slot's side has thrived on this season, going from back to front in minimal actions to create fast and direct attacks. It's threatening stuff. Speaking of threatening, that was a link. On this graph from EPL Analytics on X, otherwise known as Twitter, you can see both Trent and Porro have extremely similar expected threat numbers down this right-hand channel. And this includes those deep passes, as we just mentioned, but also those half-space deeper crosses into the box. Here's an example of just that, with Porro picking up the ball in this right half space. This is a real weapon for any team because these closer range crosses, they add variety to the team's deliveries, and it's important to be less predictable in their attacking patterns. So Porro can attack the half spaces, but also provide overlapping runs to cross from wide. Similar to Trent, being able to occupy multiple attacking lanes depending on the attacking move. Porro takes 1.55 shots per 90, that's in the top 5% amongst fullbacks, and makes 5.77 progressive passes per 90. Porro also often takes set pieces for Spurs due to his ball striking ability, and despite being the Liverpool corner taker, Trent's corner success rate has actually severely declined this season. Surprisingly, you just wouldn't expect that. So Porro could be an upgrade in that area. For those of you who watch every single second, are Trent's corners rubbish? Let me know. My questions here are, would Tottenham be willing or wanting to sign? And if so, how much would it cost? And would that amount be an amount that Liverpool would pay? I know that sounds really obvious, but how much would he cost? And would you be happy with that as a Liverpool fan if you bought someone who's threatening but not Trent to play the similar Trent role, so ultimately a downgrade, and it might cost you 40, 50 million, who knows? For our third option, it's a player that has been rumoured, and we are staying in the Premier League. This time looking at a more versatile option which could be useful if Robertson plays less minutes next season, which many Liverpool fans believe that should be the case. Tino Livramento has an excellent blend between being just an all-action fullback, but also having a very solid defensive IQ, whilst possessing the ability to play on both the left and the right-hand side of defence. What I love about Livramento, if he is an option, we'll get to that, is that he gives you an option that brings a bit of everything. You know, starting with his ability to drive forward himself, Livramento is confident on the ball, willing to step up and drive into the heart of a team's block, and that forces players to commit in order to free up a man elsewhere, something that I know Arne Slot loves, those deep runs. And in this scenario, it allows for a combination between Livramento and Murphy. After attacking with a central carry, Livramento then goes on to attack the channel. This movement and aggression, it also caused Wolves players to overcommit, leaving Bruno G as the free man in the middle. Let's talk about that versatility, because Livramento has played 12 times as a left back, including an outstanding, and yeah, I know you're going to remember this, Carabao Cup final performance where he shut out Mohamed Salah for 90 minutes, winning 4 out of 4 of his ground duels in the game. The boy was a beast. Now here is an example of Livramento's brilliant 1v1 defending ability, playing on his wrong side up against Mo Salah. Livramento is quick to get out to Salah as he receives the ball, slowing down and assuming his jockey position quickly. Livramento has excellent speed and agility, so he uses this to his advantage when defending, waiting for the winger to fully commit one way before engaging 100%. Salah is able to knock the ball towards the byline, sure, but that turn of speed from Livramento off the spot allows him to recover those couple of steps. And you all remember it, he puts in that last-ditch block to stop the cross from Salah into the box, deep in the second half, And it's just a big moment in that final. Livramento being able to play on both sides, I think it would give Slot great cover for both fullback positions going forwards, adding extra recovery pace to his defensive line and another do-it-all profile in the squad. My problem is, and Newcastle fans have probably been screaming since we've said the word Livramento, is where are Newcastle at? They are building something really exciting. They've just won the first major trophy in 70 years. Are they really going to give up a player like Livramento? Like, he is a bit of a unicorn at this stage. He is so exciting. So although I see the rumours there, and if I'm a Liverpool fan, I'd be desperate to get him in the door. Can it be done? Option number 4, and I really like this one for a couple of reasons, which I will explain in due course, is Lutsharel Geertruida. Now, he is currently playing for RB Leipzig in Germany. However, Arne Slot is very familiar with this option as he used him as the right back and right centre back at times in his Feyenoord side. And so he's obviously not a like-for-like replacement for Trent. Geertruida can be defined as an elbow fullback. He's a defender who can play different positions during different phases of play. So this is Geertruida playing for Slot's Feyenoord side back in 2023, playing as that right back, looking to drop off and cover the space in behind. This example, it shows Feyenoord's centre-backs stepping up in an aggressive manner, with Geertruida dropping off to ensure that he's ready to react and cut out danger when the ball goes in behind. Geertruida is comfortable pressing in all areas of the pitch, dropping off to cover the space in behind, as previously mentioned, but also willing to jump out of the back line, pressing into midfield zones. In this example, it shows just that, with Feyenoord's right winger dropping deeper to cover the run of the opposition player, holding width, and that allows Geertruida to jump out and apply pressure to the spare man, and he can now be aggressive, stopping the opposition player from turning and facing forwards, forcing play backwards, and actually lunging in to poke the ball away on this occasion. Defensively, an upgrade on Trent, and that is a big talking point actually when it comes to the next step forward. I don't think you're ever going to get there when it comes to in possession, but out of possession, that's where actually you can gain some points. Not enough points to outdo this one. You need to be offering something from an attacking point of view, but that jump up from a defensive point of view could be something that is quite appetizing to Arne Slot. On the ball, with Geertruida as an elbow fullback, it allows the use of the team to shift positions based on build-up structure. And with this image showing Geertruida tucking in as the third central defender, but during this same pattern of play, Geertruida drifts centrally to commit the first line of pressure before taking up an inverted fullback position in the middle of the park. Now, this is option 5, but I've got a bonus option for you as well, you lucky mothers. If you do feel lucky and you do feel kind, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. The last option that we have is a bit of a wild card, with the option being simply to trust Connor Bradley on the right-hand side, whilst replacing Trent's qualities with another addition to the team, but not a right back. Because Bradley has already given Slot plenty of reason to trust him going forwards as the Liverpool #1 right back. He's made 2.81 tackles per 90, he's averaging 4.21 progressive carries per 90, and he gives the team a different route of progression compared to the passing quality of Trent, while still working in a team that has had its best player still thriving in Mo Salah. And this is an example of Bradley in a narrow right back zone, often seen in Slot's first phase of build-up. So from here though, Bradley is able to carry the ball forwards by 20 yards by himself. That kickstarts an attack and they play it out wide to Salah. But where Bradley differs to someone like Trent is the directness that he then looks to attack the space in behind, combining with Salah to attack the box. Another example of this, but starting from deeper with his run, Bradley spots the space to run into, with Salah dragging Archie Gray away with his run, and then this allows Bradley to attack the central space, leaving Gray in a moment of indecision and finding Bradley in a 4 versus 3 scenario. And despite only being 21 years old, Bradley has got, first of all, the ingenuity to see the opportunity, but the composure to get his head up, to make a first-time slotted pass into Szoboszlai, to provide an assist. And of course, Bradley also offers that recovery pace in the back line that we mentioned with previous options, which was on full display for this cruncher of a tackle that Liverpool fans will remember on Mbappe. One thing that you guys might have noticed there when we're talking about Connor Bradley is that he does sound a lot like Livramento. So here's the first of 2. There's still another bonus option to come, which is, if you can get Livramento somehow, having 2 players of a similar age battling it out that have a similar profile allows you to kind of allow for ups and downs in form and also that competitive edge in that right back slot, which is worth considering. But back to the option of sticking with Conor Bradley and focusing on the left-hand side, Milos Kerkez is the progressive hub for Bournemouth in build-up. Kerkez averages 3.94 progressive passes per 90, 0.94 key passes per 90 and 0.65 crosses into the penalty area per 90, all whilst playing in a team that only averages 47% possession per game. If he is going to be the best version of Kerkez, you need to give him that opportunity to thrive down that left-hand side. And so to keep that balance, maybe the right-hand side is an option, which leads me to the final bonus option, which is Kerkez being brought in, and he would be perfect with Geertruida on that right-hand side as someone who can step in as a right-sided centre-back to allow Kerkez to fly up the pitch. Which of the 5 options would you take to replace Trent to the best ability this summer?